Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to use the MTP RT add-ons for NinjaTrader 7, which is what you can see here, and have a look at how the ES unfolded yesterday, which was Monday, May the 14th, particularly with a view for the advanced analysis we do using the larger degree trend. There's a great example of this yesterday. So here we are on the surface of this. It looks like the STF was red, a little bit of black here but red, so pretty much down all day. Therefore standard traders would have been taking just sell setups, so they'd have been looking at this TS4 sell but avoiding the TS4 buy. And this is where the advanced analysis that we teach in our trading room comes in, and this follows on nicely from what we were talking about in yesterday's session. Now for this we look at the 15-minute chart. So let's have a look at the 15-minute chart. This again is of the ES. Just go back and start as we did in the trading room yesterday before the day even opened. Now what we do is we place DPs on the chart and their areas in advance. So here's a last pivot low here. So if we right mouse click on this, we just do decision point. You can see here our decision point was on the chart there even before the market even opened. Let's just put a rectangle around it, so we just extend it out to the future just a little bit like that. If we move forward, can you see how the market came down, made a low and then started to rally nicely? So in other words, this 15-minute decision point tagged the very low here beautifully. So from here onwards the large degree trend was up, and this is what we were talking about in our webinar yesterday. So users should have been looking for long setups rather than short setups. Now this was the case until the market started to come down here. If I go back a bar, and here you can see we have another pivot unfold here. If I right mouse click, do decision point, you can see that put a decision point high there. And if I go forward, can you see at around the level at this point in time here, the market tagged this decision point before the market started to fall the rest of the session. So in other words, the decision points which were on your charts in advance, and that's critical because they're leading indicators and they give you areas in advance of where to anticipate support and resistance. So these enabled you to catch the very low of the day and as such define the trend as up. And then importantly here, catch this high here, which then defined the trend as down for the rest of the day. So with that in mind, let's go back to the 3-minute chart and see how that would have affected our trading. In fact, actually what I can do is if I just go to the 15-minute chart, I can just put this decision point on, and what I'll do very quickly here is if I just put the rectangle around it like this, NinjaTrader like that, then go to the 3-minute chart, we can help visualize it. So here you can see our 15-minute support going up. Therefore if you were taking this TS4 sell, you want to be very wary because you're now against an otherwise uptrend. So the better trade to take would be this TS4 buy setup. So if we place the analysis on this by right mouse click, do analysis, you can see it was a lovely buy setup. Our position sizing here got us in for 4 contracts to keep our initial risk small and under control. In this sample account of 2% risk of a $20,000 sample account. Market went up right to our first target. The STF is what we call weak, i.e. not at the strength band, therefore we'd come out at the profit target. So a lovely plus 2.2R profit. Now let's go back to the 15-minute chart and remember that I placed a DP off this high here. Let's just put a rectangle around that so we can see that on the 3-minute chart. There it is. We go back to the 3-minute chart. Now can you see how that this area here was actually 15-minute resistance, therefore you would anticipate that this would be a high and then the market would then decline down. So if I zoom in a bit, I want to have a look at this in relation to another setup that we use in MTPredictor. This is an advanced trade setup and it's a VSA, a volume spike analysis, and for this if I put the cursor on, what we look for is a bar like this to go through an important pivot. In other words, through or above this pivot here. Can you see how this bar broke to new highs above this pivot if I put the cursor on at that level? We then have our high volume VSA spike indicator on the volume down here, and this paints this red, so it gives us an alert that this is a bar we want to be interested in. So the criteria we're looking for is for this bar to break to new highs, then to hit DP resistance, and I can put the DP off this high as well, so you can see that's actually 3-minute decision point resistance as well as 15-minute, which we had on our chart before, so double time frame resistance. It then is meant to fail to go to new highs, which it did on this bar. And this is brilliant because it means that the volume in this bar here is not buying, as most amateurs would think, it's actually professional selling. Now what that normally means is the market will then reverse, the professionals will take over, and you normally get a strong move in the opposite direction. And as you can see, that's exactly what unfolded. So we have a trade set up off here. Our target, our initial target would be the DP off the prior low, which would be off here. So that would be our initial target. We put our risk reward on around that level there, and as such, even at the first target, you would have had a lovely short trade down in there for a nice plus 4.3R. Now if you were really aggressive, you could look to then run that into the close, but for this training video, let's assume that you did actually just come to the first target. STF is weak, therefore you'd come out with a plus 4.3R profit. So this has been a good example on how the 15-minute charts here helped first of all nail the very low of the day for you, and as such got you in the correct direction to take a nice TS4 buy set up there, which as we saw earlier in the video would have made a nice plus 2.2R profit. Then how the 15-minute resistance again in advance, it was on the chart there in advance, had you anticipating this high, and as it came in we got our VSA set up here which nailed the very high of the day, and there you were short from the high of the day as the market declined down into the very least for a plus 4.3R profit. Again, aggressive traders could have probably trailed that down into the close. But either way, the MTPredictor routines here, particularly using the DPs off the 15-minute charts, nailed both the low and the very high of the day and got a couple of very good trades in between as well.